Hello, namaste. So I just want to discuss briefly today on why yoga can help in any crisis at all and why yoga is really the answer to all of our problems on the planet right now. So yoga in general, like I think there's this huge misconception of what yoga actually is. And I think that moving forward, we need to really understand what it is and how to apply it into our lives to make our own lives better. If our individual life then is improved, a natural effect, a natural wave effect of that is going to be an improved effect through our families, through our communities, through our towns and our cities, and eventually on a global level. And it has to do with, really analyzing yourself and really, you know, being mindful of your actions and your words. And it's really taking a stance of simply thinking things through almost prior to just reacting on an emotional basis. So through yoga, a side note on this also, which is an important aspect of yoga, is through yoga we learn to release certain beliefs and thoughts and attitudes and traumas that no longer serve us. And it's really a step-by-step process. And I know even now today people, they hear the word yoga and they either associate it with like religion. It's not a religion. There's all yoga simply means, and we can take this directly from Patanjali, is it's the yoga chitra vritti nirodha, which essentially is just calming down the thoughts in the mind. And what happens as we continue on this yogic path, our mind, it starts to settle down, kind of like a river after a storm, and all these things settle and we have clarity. And by seeing our world through a clear lens, we're able to, differentiate what is us, what is not us, what is an illusion, what is real. We can start to see these things and, we start to, the judgments start to go away, the beliefs, what we are led to believe in certain institutions or in certain how we were brought up or anything, those all start to go away and we can start to see things again and have a clear perspective. So yoga is really like a step-by-step process. And I think, part of what people are still thinking, people think that yoga is like a sport or a religion or a cult. And it's really none of that. If we, go back to the definition here, it's the control of the thought waves in the mind field. And it's also yoga, comes from this word to yoke. So it's really connecting you to your higher self. And, it's a spiritual path. And spirituality is not a religion. It's simply, a path that we all really take to kind of try to figure out, our purpose, what we're doing here, what is it to be human, these kind of philosophical questions that all of humanity needs to address at one point or another. And we will address them either in this life or a next life. Because essentially we are energy. And I spoke about this in another video. There's like this belief that, in reincarnation or, what happens to us after death, these kind of questions. And, my personal belief, and this is a belief, and until I have other information, I'm still looking for that information, because a belief, simply we have to understand, yes, this is a belief. And, since I'm still looking, there could be something else out there that I should take into consideration. And, a side note, our belief systems, if everybody kind of has the understanding of what a belief really is, it's essentially an opinion based on your experiences, and it's not set in stone. If everybody kind of realized this, I think, a lot more work could be done in general on the planet as far as like self-development is concerned, because people would be looking at things from a point of, I really don't know anything at all. This is what I think, but let's all come together and let's share the information we have and, see what makes sense, see who's had what experiences, essentially, like planet Earth is just like a school, right? It's just a school. And we're all children at all times on the planet. And nobody has all the answers. Nobody will ever have all the answers. And, we simply just have to try to put things together and make sense of what's here. We're never going to be able to know anything or everything. So, if we keep that kind of attitude always, like, I don't know anything, this is what I think based on my experience and my observations, but is it the truth? I don't know. Is there life after death? I don't know. I haven't experienced death, not yet, death of the physical body, so I don't know what happens. And if I did experience it previously in a past life, I don't have any conscious memory of that past life, so I still don't know. But moving forward, why we should, why everybody should really do yoga, because yoga is, it is there is a physical aspect, but really these positions and things that people think that it's a sport, it's really only about 1% of what yoga really is. It's really, using time for self-study, self-reflection, deep thought, and kind of addressing some of these things in the world, and not only on the philosophical level, as there are different branches of yoga as well, but also trying to live your life in the best way possible. And even like we're seeing right now in the world, there's like this whole virus thing, the pandemic, and the, now this whole Black Lives Matters, and, these things, if we see them for what they really are, we can see that these are just simply illusions, right? And, apart from the fact that, there's other agendas currently going on in the world to, enslave us and control us and to make us fight amongst one another. This is like the classic evil plan from the beginning of time. And, as we incorporate more yoga or like self-study into our lives, we start to see more and more that these are just simply illusions. And, I'm going to do another video on the Black Lives Matter because this in itself is completely, you know, my personal opinion based on the knowledge I have is that it's unacceptable. This whole, race and everything like this, because we should essentially be looking at the heart quality. And when I see people, I look at a heart quality. I don't see color. I don't see, monetary value. I don't see, you know, female, male. I simply see a heart condition. And, this takes time to develop. And this is why we need to start doing yoga, because as we go through these steps, what is going to happen to you is you're going to go through a transformation. And I speak from experience, not just simply books and information that I have, but from personal experience that as go forward on your spiritual path, what actually happens to your body is you actually start to move into a different vibration. And, after a while, the vibrations will get stronger and stronger that you simply see things differently. And you can call it, an awakening or enlightenment or anything that you wish to call it. I simply, refer to it as seeing things from a different perspective. And I think what happens is some people naturally have this ability, and this ability is kind of blocked, you know, based on certain things that happen to us, certain things that keep us in these lower dimensions, they keep us trapped. And some people just have a natural ability to go through this. But as you do yoga, what happens is your vibration actually changes. And for people that haven't done it, they don't know what the vibration means. They don't know what an energetic, what this energetic body actually means. You don't know it until you've experienced it. And, on a very trivial example is like when you walk into a room, for example, and you kind of feel that something is amiss, right? You feel like you walk in and there's a heavy energy. There's like a dark energy, and you feel like you have to like get out sometimes. Some people that are really sensitive, energetically sensitive, can walk into a room like this and they immediately have to go out. Even like all the technology that we have, some people are really sensitive to the technology. As you become more in tune with your energetic body via yoga, like yogic techniques like the asana or the pranayama or the meditation, you'll just naturally start to develop this, and you'll naturally, attract situations that will promote, a higher frequency. And it's difficult to explain it if you haven't already gone through it. But once you start to go through it, you'll know exactly, all of what I'm saying now will essentially make sense, because it's a feeling, it's an intangible kind of sensation that comes over you in certain situations. So you'll just naturally, intuitively know, whether it's the correct way you're going or the correct situation that you're in, et cetera, et cetera. And this is what, by doing yoga, and I'm just going to use the term yoga, but it's essentially, meditative practices, self-analysis, self-study. And it's naturally trying to align yourself as best as possible with the correct things or the just things, and your higher self, which essentially is the best version of yourself that you can be, and a reflection of that light that you carry within. So this is why, essentially yoga can assist in any crisis at all on the planet. And if everybody just did some of this, the world, our consciousness would naturally develop to a higher state. Our energetic level would naturally develop to a higher state. And the other thing about yoga is that when you do it, you'll realize that all of these things that are no longer needed in your life, like I said, the beliefs, we have, certain systems of beliefs that have been like programmed into us, like really the majority of people are just programmed, and you can see it. You can see it all over the world, anywhere you go, in any situation, that there are people that are completely programmed, and they're just like drones, like robots, like, and maybe they will eventually wake up someday, but maybe they won't. And, we can't continue to worry about these people. There's a lot of, still even people like trying to wake up other people all the time, like, get with the program. This is happening, the global elite, they're, destroying the world, blah, blah. It's really, we have to have the information, and this is good, but we still have to do the self work on ourselves, because what is going to happen is as we transform ourselves, this is going to have a natural effect on those around us, and they'll start to transform. And then that will have an effect on others around them. And it's eventually going to have a wave effect. Just like this global pandemic has had a wave effect on the masses, which is, the people that are just blind, that are just blindly following, this agenda. We can have the same effect by improving and transforming ourselves and having that wave spread throughout, our families, our communities, and then eventually the world. So this is where we have to kind of focus more of our energy, is into the self-study, self-analysis, doing any kind of, meditative techniques, even the asanas. In yoga, we usually start with the asanas. It's a tangible thing. People have access to the postures, and on a physical level, they can start to empty out their body, essentially, because what we need to do is we almost need to empty out before we can, fill ourselves then with the light and the goodness. We have to remember that we are spiritual beings, and we do have good within us. If we didn't have good within us, we wouldn't be conscious of the fact that we were able to do good in the world. And I believe that there is a small group of people that they really literally have no good in them. And we can see this happening, within, on this global agenda right now that's currently taking place. We can see that there are a small group of people that really have no sense of good within them. But any of us who even has 1% amount of goodness, if you see, a poor person and you give them money, that's, an indication that you have a sense of good within you. You want to help. If you see, a turtle crossing the road and you want to, park your car and move that turtle out of harm's way, that's proof that you have good within you. If you've ever cried, during an emotional film, or, cried at the loss of somebody, these are all signs that we have emotions, and we really do want to help. We want to be good. And that we are capable. We have this within us to be able to do this. And so even, knowing that we have this amount of goodness, we can amplify that. We can, work on that and start to amplify that part of us to, make permanent changes on the planet. And this goes, And this goes along with the asanas. And I'll do a separate video on this because I don't want to make these videos too long. But I just wanted to reflect on that just, really quickly this morning on, why everybody should be doing yoga, in the sense that, we're calming the mind. We're, eliminating that mental chatter. And we're kind of reconnecting with that higher self, with that goodness within us, the goodness within us, the part of us that wants to make the planet a better place in general. So let me know if you have any questions or comments on that. If you want to subscribe, go ahead and subscribe. If you like the video, go ahead, hit the like button, and namaste.